go. Man, we said.
You want to get it out of the way first?
I don't.
Okay.
We can.
We'll go back to it later.
No, let's just get into it.
Okay.
So as I mentioned in the last episode, it's gonna be playing in that tournament, Rival Games NYCFC. And we did well, boys. We made it all the way to the final.
Scored a lot of goals on the way there. 4-1 win.
Yeah.
Proud of that. Should be proud of that.
Should be proud of that. Unfortunately, lost 3-1 in the final. Congrats to the kid that won.
You got hit by the Zelleray cheese, the double free kick.
I did. I got, in true NYCFC fashion, I got double free kicked on to lose.
It's only right.
Which is unfortunate because the fouls weren't fouls, but we'll let the VAR team handle that heat this week.
Yep.
And just move on to next week and then in the weeks following because we're back. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much we're gonna cover here if I keep losing.
Yeah.
If you never hear about it again, I never won a tournament. If you see some new fancy jersey in the glass, then you know.
Yeah. He is committed. I could say that much. He's committed because he came upstairs and he signed up for 3 additional tournaments immediately after losing.
We can't go out on a loss like that. That's not what this podcast is all about. And so
it's not what this podcast is all about.
That's not what this team's about. And
yeah.
That's obviously what we showed against Columbus. If you want to get into that.
Yeah. I think to really sum it up is like we're just a completely different team in the Bronx. Like playing at Yankee Stadium, I think Tinnerholm said it in the post game that teams are going to have a very tough time beating us at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. And I love that the players seemingly feel identical to the fans.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That's everything.
And you can see it in the way that they play. They're way more excited to play.
Yeah.
And not to mention at the perfect time, Thiago and Taty are lighting it up.
Yeah.
Like, Thiago, if he continues this way, is going to be player of the year for the MLS.
Yeah.
I promise you.
You know what? This is why we don't record.
This is why we don't record in the day.
During the day. And now this is our first day podcast, and it proved it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
also
you
schedules.
Were saying.
But yeah, I mean, Thiago, if he continues the way that he's going right now, is going to be the player of the year for the MLS. He's going to be the MVP.
Yep.
Like, we need to realize we have an MVP contender, and it's not David Villa.
It sort of might be like a Hebert situation where he came in half season, and he puts up like, what did Hebert put up, like 15 goals in a half season, and it's like, oh my God, wait until we have him at the start of a season.
Exactly, and not to mention, when Hebert does come back, and I think it's insane for this league that we have a Thiago coming in and lining it up like this after really no time. Taty's heating up, and even for other teams like Joseph Martinez, he's gonna push for an MVP. He's pushing for the MVP title because he's just that level of player. And so it's putting kind of the league on notice. Yeah,
and maybe we can talk about this before we get into like the nitty gritty of the goals that we saw. But I remember a couple of episodes you were talking about how you felt like Thiago might go on to become like a guy somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
And
let me just cut you off before you continue, because first off, you get all the credit in the world for that, because I also believe it's going to happen. But I started to see people on Twitter like, oh, are we going to see Thiago at Man City soon?
I think so.
Yeah. I thought of you.
He's going to be a guy. And you can just tell it's kind of like, I've never really believed in like, oh, you can tell he has it and you don't really know what that is. But you see him get on the ball in Yankee Stadium, everyone's on their feet. They're anticipating what he's going to do.
And he eats that up too.
Yeah,
he feeds off
of that.
Yep.
And he plays better. You can tell that pass to Keaton was so dirty.
Mm-hmm.
If he continues this form, he's the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Whether we win or not, he's the MVP in this form.
Yeah. Talking about that Keaton goal, did you see the dance that he did afterwards?
Yeah. Keaton, we need to speak, bro. You are too long to be doing that.
To be doing that TikTok
I'd
dance.
say you're
like
about a foot too tall to be doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say for the goal, like, good on Keaton to keep that play alive. Like, he knew that he had to run into the box and do something because evidently nobody else was.
Yep.
And he kept the play alive, and luckily Thiago found him, and Keaton, was tidy enough to finish the ball
As a nutmeg as well. Two
Yeah,
nutmegs.
as a nutmeg. Yeah, double nutmeg. And that was the third goal of the night. I mean,
yeah, and that really that killed the game off at that point.
Yeah.
We knew that, there's really nothing more in this other than let's get some people on to impress, and that's exactly what happened because Santiago came on and got his goal. Mm-hmm. If they had disallowed that, I would have driven to the stadium.
Yeah, Alan Kelly honestly is working his way up the ladder, and he's right up there with Ted Uncle. He's always been questionable when it comes to us, but it's just every game we play with him reffing, it's just another rung up the ladder of being terrible.
Isn't it bizarre that all these refs that are great and they're in the position they're in for a reason, and I'm not always the guy to come out and trash them, but it just seems weird that every time they come to one of our games, whether that's home, away, or at Red Bull Arena, some funky calls start happening.
Yeah, it's always
ones
us.
that they've admitted costed us points.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
just
the weird
it's
part.
just a little weird.
It's always us, because you're right. I mean, they have jobs for a reason. Let's be honest, right? But
they go through extensive training, all that. But at the same time, why? And not to be the victim, but why is it always wonky decisions when it comes to us?
I don't know. Even in this game, it was only us.
Yeah.
I don't think through the first half he couldn't have called more than 1 or 2 fouls on Columbus, and 6 against us. Even right after Columbus had done something foul worthy, and then he would no call and then
he
blow it
called
on us.
15 fouls on us, and he called 3 to Columbus.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
While we had 44% possession to 56.
Yeah.
It's just a little weird. It's a little wonky.
It doesn't add up.
4 yellow cards to 1. Are we pressing and being more aggressive? Yes. Fouls are going to come with that. Yellow cards are going to come with that. Mm-hmm. But it starts to get a little wonky.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, we peppered them too. We had 24 shots.
Yeah. Well, that was just wasn't it the last Columbus game where Zelarayan scored on Barraza? We had 21 shots to 7 or something like that. And I think it was, I mean, it's everybody in the community, to be honest, who's saying I think it was officially Matt Doyle, who's not even really a part of the NYCFC community, but the MLS.
I feel like secretly he
always puts
around
on a little bit for NYCFC, and he said, these 2 games now, he said it before this game even, so shouts out to him, but he said 5-0 and 4-0 wins have been exactly what the underlying stats have been telling everybody for the whole season.
Yeah.
We should have been getting those results, and now we're getting them.
We average 20 shots a game. We're shooting a lot, which some people are upset about. They want us to have more quality shots. For me personally, you hit it enough, it's gonna go in.
Yeah, that's what's exciting.
You're gonna find the shot, the combination that's gonna go in.
Aren't we there for shots and goals and creating, attacking? Isn't that the most entertaining part of soccer?
Exactly. I think we play the style of football that we're playing now, as opposed to when Ronnie first got there. When and we were saying that all along. We're we don't want Ronnie anymore, but also let's see what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Because we saw flashes of this.
Well, there were absolutely times that many people in the fan base, including ourselves, were Ronnie out.
And justifiably
so. And I would say absolutely justifiably so. Because I've also seen things on Twitter with people being oh, where are the Ronnie out people now? It's
bro, we were there for a reason.
We were down really, not only us as fans, but as a club, we were down really bad at moments in time. In the MLS's back tournament, and after that, when the season restarted, it's just we were down really bad, and it didn't look like there was a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Ronnie was able to sort of turn things around, I guess, similar to how Dame did. So just hope he keeps at it, really.
Yeah. Well, and we have, not to say any game's an easy game, because we felt that before where we thought it was easy.
Yeah.
And we get slapped up, but Chicago's not tough.
Yeah. One thing that I am proud of us for not doing is buying into that 2-game doomsday drought that everybody did, because sometimes we in the past probably have been quicker than we would like to admit to get into that feeling of doomsday, thinking that we lost 2 games, everything's over with now. But we didn't do that, and we said 2 games in the middle of the season, And losing 2 and winning 2, in the grand scheme, really doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mix anything up. And honestly, we're on that path that we thought that we would be on. Because even before that, we were playing well. We were getting results.
Yeah. I mean, we've been the 4th in the East. We've been the 6th in the East. We're now the 3rd in the East. There's been nothing. There's going to be more
shakeup too, because not everyone's played all of their games.
Yeah, and you have to look at some of our results, like Toronto. Wasn't that the one where it was, it was completely on the ref, I believe, and then it was also the second DC United game, I believe. I can't remember which the 2 were, but they were very obviously taken from us. Like that was one of the ones where the refs came out after the game and said, "Oh yeah, that was completely the wrong call." So, if you even turn those into 1-pointers or 3-pointers, I mean, we're sitting in first place.
Yeah, I think this is a first place team.
I
don't think we've really gotten away from that too much. Lively Street. Just editor, cut that out. I've never not seen this team as a contender.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
And that's why we said, however many weeks ago, we're like, we're going to be in the playoffs. I don't care if it's 1 through 8. We're there.
Yeah.
And we just need to show up then.
Yeah. And we can, talking more about Thiago, he really, although it was drawing a corner, but that's, a part of creating a chance. So he draws that corner and he creates the goal. For whatever reason, I think just because it was coming from the left side, we had Medina kicking the corner instead of Maxi. And, he put it perfectly right on Taty's head. And good on Taty to finish that. Great.
And that's just like Ian was saying in the broadcast. It's like that's what a confident striker can do.
Yep. You get that first goal.
If he doesn't have that confidence and he's not directing that, he's probably letting Chanel hit that into the stands.
I thought that Ian sounded a lot like you talking about that goal because you talked about how after the first game, on Twitter, you might see some people saying, oh, we can't really hype Taty up for this cherry pick.
Yeah.
And what Ian said on the broadcast after scoring was how important was it to get that one goal now that they're going to start flowing in this form because he got that goal.
Yeah, and I think
crucial.
Taty's going to stay hot.
Yeah.
Because he's got an in-form Medina who maybe he had a couple of games where he wasn't, prime Medina that we were getting used to. But he's still working hard. He's still putting in a shift regardless.
Yeah.
With him and Thiago on the left side, I don't know who can keep up with us offensively.
Yeah, I don't either.
When they start flowing like this, I don't know genuinely who can keep up.
Yeah, and then at that point, all we have to, worry about is our defense, which did take a little bit of a hit in the way that Acevedo ended up going down with something I don't want to make too many assumptions, but muscle related.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like an issue. It seemed more of one of those, let's get him out before it becomes worse. And it kind of worked out for us because we put Morales in, and I don't know if it was his first or second touch of the game, but he played an incredible ball to Thiago. It was unbelievable. Truly.
I'm starting to laugh a little bit. I'm reading these notes. Does bleaching your hair actually work?
Yeah, I typed that.
I'd like you to elaborate maybe a little bit on that because we've had this discussion, maybe not on here, but it's a funny discussion in general because it happened not only to NYCFC, but it happened as to Man City, the main team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it almost happened to England, but they said, let's wait until after we win something.
Which good. Imagine they all lost with that, with that haircut.
So typically, in our past, we've seen our team get a little trigger happy with the dye when they're stuck in hotel rooms during the playoffs or during the MLS's back trophy. Sometimes it's not dye, sometimes it's just the hair clippers.
Yeah, really what happens is they're away from their wives and they have full control over what they do to their head.
And hey, I would do it too.
If I was in the locker room, I would do it too.
Yeah, I'd be bleaching my head.
Yeah,
I'd
my
be the
beard
first.
would be
I might be the guy that brings it up. So let me put that down. But in the past, typically it's not worked out for us.
Exactly, and the reason we had maybe a sour taste in our mouth about the hair dye, not because it's them expressing themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
It was we saw it before a playoff game debut, so we saw like Keaton, we saw Maxi, we saw all of these guys. He's not even on Matarita. I almost forgot the man. They all dyed their hair and then laid an absolute egg and bounced out of the playoffs. So we were like, okay, we don't like the hair dye anymore. Let's maybe focus on, maybe that took you an hour of your relaxing time. let's relax, let's focus on
Yeah.
winning. But at this point, I don't really care.
But yeah, no, I thought it was funny though. Maybe now that we have people like Thiago and Santi around, the bleaching the hair is like a superpower.
Yeah,
And I'm with it.
one of the last things, Bradley Wright Phillips. Why don't you focus on scoring for your new team rather than living your past glory at the team that dumped you?
Yeah, let me explain it because it definitely wasn't shown on the broadcast, but I only saw 1 or 2 tweets about it. But allegedly, when BWP left the field, he threw up a 7-0.
Yeah.
Which, to
does
me...
a 0 stand for what you scored against us yesterday?
Yeah. Or like what you've scored this season?
Yeah.
Or like what is the 0?
Is a 0 where you are in your career?
Yeah.
Because you got dropped by the team that you were supposed to be a club legend of.
It was just crazy to me also because like he doesn't even start for Columbus, you know? Like
He did against us.
he did against us, but
because pieces are missing.
not only because pieces were missing, but also I think Caleb Porter is like, yo, we just beat these guys 2 times in a row in the last month.
Yeah.
BWP could probably get the job done. Let's do some rest. So I don't know. Don't throw up 7-0 when you can't score.
Yeah.
Like
when you're
ever.
being given a penalty as well at the end of
and
the
being
game.
subbed out of a game that
Yeah.
you're sort of a rotation starter into.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing?
yeah.
You're looking silly.
You do look silly, and you're nowhere near, not to harp on it, but you're nowhere near the human being or the soccer player that you were when you were playing for Red Bulls. And even then, in the grand scheme of things of world football,
It doesn't matter.
dude, you're like striker 410. Let's relax.
Yeah. Other than that, we sort of touched lightly on Santi's goal. Thankfully, it wasn't taken away. In general, I mean, I'm not sure there's much else to talk about. I think on the defense that Collins, we're lucky to have him back. I think that he brings everybody around him up. Sometimes can even make Chanot look good, which is an insane thing to be able to do.
You know what? I think the last thing I'm going to comment on is just how wrong I think I was about Barraza and how important he can be when he's confident, because he didn't really have much to do in this game, and so not even necessarily his duties as a goalkeeper as in stopping shots. I was impressed, but his ball distribution again
To Keaton.
just showed how insane and how much of a piece that can be in our team.
Yep.
And how much I think I want that to be a part of our team.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that piece to where he can, like, our entire team is defensive or offensive.
Yeah.
Rather than defensive. I feel we are when Sean's in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it was another great ball from Barraza. It definitely, I mean, the goal wouldn't have happened if he didn't play that ball.
Exactly.
And that's now 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna chalk this one up as a clean sheet for Barraza personally.
Yep. 2 clean sheets.
I think it was like Christian that said it in the post-game presser. He asked Ronnie if he thought that was just kind of silly. Like, you know, even if it was a super soft foul or something like that, or something you could call, why do it in the dying seconds of the game?
Yeah.
It's just annoying, to be honest with you.
It's just annoying.
And really it sucks the most because the only person you're taking it away from is Barraza, which
And the team too. I mean,
he was upset after the game. He, you know, even in the midst of the Maxi gender reveal and having won 4-0 again, you know, you could still tell he was upset that he didn't get that clean sheet. And that kind of sucked to see because I think he deserves it.
Yeah,
The effort
I mean,
is insane.
at the end of the day, that's what you want to see, though. You want to see, you know, your keeper mad, even if the circumstances are out of his control.
Yeah,
You know,
that's passion.
Yeah, you want to see, you know, those guys and the people that are going to be leaders. He's going to be leader of the back line one day. I believe that, you know, we'd be dumb to get rid of him at this point.
I agree. Yeah, with what he's done. What he's done.
What he's done in these games, and realistically, that's exactly what we said. I mean, in that moment, it might have come up negative because it was a negative moment.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we wanted to see what he can come out to be.
Yeah, we definitely didn't go full doomsday on the club, but we did go a little doomsday on Barraza.
On Barraza. Well, because, you know, we needed to see some more, and we have.
Yeah, and we have seen more, and he's looked great. So what we have to look forward to, we got a little bit of stretch of away games. We got to go to Chicago, then we got to go to Toronto, and then we'll be back against Pumas for the Leagues Cup at Yankee Stadium. So there's a lot to look forward to. Like you said, I think Chicago, you know, not any team is gonna not give you a game when you go there, especially at their home. But I think that's one that fans should expect to walk away with a third win.
And some more confidence going into these tougher games.
Yeah.
So that's
That'll do
it. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
After hopefully a dub. And so Post 90 on all platforms.
Yep.
We're actually getting these outros done correctly now that we're in season 4.
In form, yeah.
So we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Yeah, see ya.